what is emotional intelligence? We all use emotional intelligence. We don't even realize it in day-to-day circumstances, and especially in work circumstances. And I, first of all, would say, let us first look at what are the words emotional and intelligence. Emotional is obviously you're looking at your feelings, you're looking at behavioral responses, how they influence, how they motivate our behavior. And obviously as leaders, we have to look and understand the emotions of our teams, of our people. From my side, I look at it from a healthcare point, from my patients, from their families, from my colleagues who are having to deal with, and my team who are having to deal with these people. And there's different types of emotions. Actually, there's 6 types of emotions, which is happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, and surprise. Now, each of these form every day within our environments, and they're part of who we are, who we are as people, who we are, as Ria says, as our character. Then you look at the intelligence. Now, intelligence, everybody thinks, oh, it's IQ. It's people who are intelligent. They know everything. But when you look at what actually intelligence is and what you are bringing as intelligence, it's our mental ability to learn, to have our knowledge, to have our skills, to bring those into who we are as a person, of what we are wanting to give out as an individual to the people. So it's logic, and it's a word I never use it. And the reason I don't use logic is, within my working experience, I worked in IT and into systems and development. And I'm afraid to say, when we used to say, but it doesn't work, it's logic. It doesn't work, but people didn't understand what we were trying to say about it. So logic was a no-go word with us within the IT part of it. But it's also about problem solving, of planning, of being, to know our emotional knowledge. We have to know our emotional knowledge, us as leaders, to be able to give that emotional knowledge to the people we are working with, we are dealing with, we come into contact with every day. And it allows us also to meet the demands of the environment effectively. Because if you cannot have that, we cannot reach anything. Our emotions, our intellect is then hampered. So if you put them both together, we then have emotional intelligence, which I feel is a blend of thinking and feeling to make the right decisions, the best decisions, to understand and manage our emotions. And it's something I say, you have to know and be in touch with your own emotions and control. And our control and actions, not letting the actions control us. Our emotions control us. And as Ria said, you get irritated, you get frustrated, you are angry. And it's something I learned from, like we call a triangle mantra. You know, you can have where your manager or your CEO or whoever sends you an email and criticizes you about your work. Straight away, your emotion is you're mad, you are angry, and you want to put your finger straight onto that laptop typing. But no, stop. Take the triangle mantra and take your deep breath in, hold it, let it out, do it a couple of times, close the email, come back to it. When your emotions have now come down to say, is this email of criticism correct? If it is, you need to accept and take responsibility of it. So you then have your emotional intelligence is already working, it's coming in, and it helps you to also handle your interpersonal relationships with your team, at home, with your children, with your family. It's something that is an everyday working all the time when you don't even realize it. Now, why is emotional intelligence, or EI as they say, important? Because it affects every one of us. It helps build relationships at work and in home. It reduces the stress. And post-traumatic stress is something I deal with on a regular occurrence, obviously looking after the injured employees who have now been an able-bodied person and they are now a paraplegic. They go through the traumas of the event that happened. And you've got to then look at who they are, their ability. You've got to be able to listen. And Sachin knows it's a thing I say. It's a thing. You can have a boss. You can be a boss. But a leader is somebody that listens, but also hears what that person is saying. And this is what emotional intelligence is. You have to hear what that person is saying. It's an emotion. You are now seeing your colleagues dealing with a patient who has passed away. You've got a family. Now you're having to look at how you're going to deal with the traumas and what the people are crying. They're sad, as we say. There's all these areas you've got to understand and have the knowledge of, but also you as the leader have to make sure that that person who is dealing with this, your colleague, your team member, is also understanding what that person and that family is going through, but they're able to deal with it. They're able to cope with it. It is a coping skill. It's an emotional skill. So it also, you get the situations, as I said, where you've got a criticism, but you diffuse matters that you can see arising. Because, you know, if I look at now, you talk about COVID and what has COVID had on society? COVID has had a huge impact on society, on you changing. Now, within EI, there are 5 main elements that we look at, and these are self-awareness, your self-awareness, how you deal with your emotions, but you can also recognize your emotions and what action you can take. Impulse is one of them. You're not going to be impulsive. You're going to think back to our triangle. You look at your self-management, the awareness that you know how to control yourself within a situation. And that is the influence that you have then on your team. You then have self-motivation. Now, if you are not motivated, your team won't be motivated. They need to see, even my patients, these ones that have life-changing disabilities, they need to be motivated. They need to be able to see they can achieve. They can go forward. They are committed. We are committed as a motivator, as a leader. We are committed to what we believe in, what is the good, what we can give back, what and how we do it. And then my main one, and obviously from a medical point, is empathy. Empathy is one of my values of life. It's able to share not just my feelings and understand my feelings and let my team see that when I'm upset because of something that's happened to a patient or a situation, they can see my feelings and they don't have to be scared then to show their own feelings, because this is how we understand each other, but we also gain the trust and the respect of our colleagues, of our patients, of our co-workers, of management. Everybody then comes together, and it provides success in the workplace. It provides success that we are going to give back that person quality of life to the best of what is available for them based on their injuries or their diseases. And I'll go back to post-traumatic stress. You know, people, and COVID has brought it out around the world, mental health. You know, what it has had, you've got changes in now you're working from home. You've got homeschooling. Now, normally your children go to school. Now you're sitting in a house with children homeschooling. You've got your husband who normally, or your spouse that normally goes to work. You're now confined. You've got to see how that change has an impact on the whole family unit. On now, you're not the communication lines. I found that during the height of the pandemic, communication lines went down because now you're not face to face. You're not within your normal working environment. You're not going to talk. We couldn't go and do our home visits to our patients. We couldn't go and do our mobile clinics to the people that needed their prosthesis. You know, so all of that changed, and that brings anxiety. It brings stress, because now you're thinking, not just you're thinking about the other people that you are servicing, of what is happening. So it's as I say, put yourself in their shoes. And I am in rural Africa. I go to rural Africa where there isn't the water. They go and collect it with buckets. They can walk miles. Now, put yourself into their shoes with the pandemic. And as I was saying before, you know, you look at vaccination. Yes, we need to be vaccinated. Yes, it's everybody's, they can do as they feel is right by themselves. But you say, how do you tell them you need to be vaccinated? Put yourself in their shoes. They have no understanding. They have no knowledge. A lot of them, well, most of them are illiterate. You know, they maybe have a local radio station, but once you then say they've got scared, their fear, it's an emotional intelligence, which they don't even realize. And you've got to deal with that and be positive and show them. So if we look at the whole emotional intelligence, we look at the impact and the awareness it has on everybody. And as leaders, we have to be very aware of how our team is working. What are their challenges? What are they facing? How they feel? What their concerns are? And if as a leader, you can be listening, but you're not hearing, your team will sit back and say, but she doesn't care. You've got to be out there. You've got to give. You've got to show all of this to your team, as a leader, so that your team will grow. You become successful. You've got, your targets have been met. Whatever business that you're in. So if I to sum it all up, I mean, people have become, they're fed up with the working environments that they're in, with the world as it is, because there is change. And again, change is an emotional intelligence, because people don't like change, but now they've been forced into change, and nobody's ever been down this path before. Well, it's the unknown. So people are again scared because it's the unknown. We're all scared. We're all scared. We don't know. If you look at people, you say people are scared because of death. People are scared because they don't know what they're going into. It's a new job. What is it going to be like? What is the culture of the work environment, people are scared. So change, and obviously with the COVID, the pandemic, we have to be very much more aware of our teams, our people within our teams, and society itself, and people we are dealing with, we come into action with. And, you know, whether it be customers, whether it be patients, whether it be your own colleagues, whether it's management, everybody is scared. But you have to be able to express your feelings. And that is why I say, always, you must always communicate. It can be the smallest thing, but that communication and to hear it is so important. I can carry on about emotional intelligence, but I'm going to leave it there. I hope I've planted a seed into you to understand how emotional intelligence, it doesn't even work. It's part of who we are. It's part of our culture. It's part of who we are as characters.